I would like to say greetings to you all and the best of salutations. The reason why I say in the best of salutations, in the best of greetings, that which you, when you come to, that which you derive from, and that is a state of peace. Yes. And when I use the term peace, meaning that the environment, or you and I, that we are no threat to each other. And when I think of state, I also think of a condition. And I realize that we're born into a condition, placed in a situation, surrounded by circumstances, and consequently due to some previous activities that had transpired. And what inspired this expression? Because everybody have need of self-expression. The clothes that we wear, the glasses that we wear, the car that we drive, just a mean of self-expression. A musician plays music, but that doesn't define who or she is. It's just an expression of him. And I realized that I have 3 core values: opportunity, expression, and appreciation. Because this learning environment, this universe, that which we turn to, the verse, that which we turn to, is to be one. Yes, to be in harmony with nature as well as yourself. So, opportunity is a direct correlation of ownership, which means we have to be productive, be very industrious as human beings, coexisting and placing each other in a situation whereas that we can excel together for the best and the greater good of our humanity and what our humanity has to offer. And I ain't talking about dominating and controlling in a controlling manner or controlling way. No, unto becoming global citizens of this global universe. It is said that oneness is stronger than conflict, and unity is stronger than diversity. Yes. As that be the case, as a foundational stone that which we can build on, as we are the architectures of our destiny and as well as our success. Surely it is in our DNA. When I think of D, I think of something that has been organized. That which has been organized is very creative. And that which is creative is that which is primary and what is first is the A, and how it is shaped like an A-frame, and that we stand on our own 2 feet, because this universe is a place of existence that we become grounded in humility. It's a very humbling experience. Our existence on this planet Earth. Yes. So, this stronger than. What is strength? It is said that there is 3 types of fears I've come to conclude as intellectual fear, emotional fear, and physical fear. And I says there's 3 illnesses, maybe one more, that the society is dealing with. Mental suicide, emotional homicide, and spiritual genocide. Geno means cutting through the life force. And the greatest force is success. Marcus Garvey made that clear. Yes. And he said that which one should be attracted to is progress. So if there is a struggle, there is a struggle with progress versus regress. Yes. That which is regress, you're going backwards as opposed to moving forward. The forward is a exodus. It is a moving forward to a point in one's life where we're being weaned from a starting point of purity. If we look at the birth of a child that is being birthed or evolving in the mother, needs the nurturing of the proper nutrients of being pure. Being safeguarded from outside toxins. And when that child comes out into the world, pure, born with nobility and dignity, anything other than that of living in harmony with himself or with nature. Oneness is stronger than conflict, and unity is stronger than diversity. But yet, he or she, the child, has been contaminated and corrupted by outside influences. So we're born pure. What is this thing of being born in a state of people called sin? Religious folks call sin. You look at it in the language which people call the Hebrew language. Like he is a pronoun that takes a place for a noun, and brew is a mixture. So let us blend. Yes, it is moral and cultural decline. It is recidivism. It is a lack of accountability. And that which we are being deprived of as a humanity, we don't want to be accountable and dealing with the consequences of our actions. Because of anything, the efforts of the results, or the results of our efforts, either or, how do you want to put that? But the results of the efforts is that which you and I have created. So what can I bear witness to as a qualifier to speak on such? What is that one can say as a qualifier. One must reverence the womb that bore us. My mother gave birth to me. That makes me a qualified individual. I know that which I come from. We tend to want to relish on the past, and very extravagantly doing so. That the past is just a place of reference. It's not a place of residence. So those who use these things, such as people call themselves nationalists, communists, socialists, capitalists, intellectualists, are merely being used as puppets in the hands of the puppeteer because what they say seems to be popular. They are in a popularity contest, but yet in that popularity contest they are doing the bidding of the oppressor. And that which is oppressing people today is ignorance. Ignorance is the result of hostility, as if there's nothing else to be learned. Once you think you know, you don't know, and then you learn that there's much more to be learned. How can you offer concrete solutions to abstract problems? How do you find God? You think you know and you found them, but you haven't found them, for that which we call God is abstract. Mathematics teaches us how can you calculate how can you know the origin of anything, of the unknown, unless you first calculate that which is known. That's mathematics. Huh? Nowadays, in this society, more so than ever, people who go to school and get their education, but yet they're really being trained to think, are being bought and sold. And it's become popular to do so. How do you change the condition of the people? And yes, they first change the condition of your soul, but yet change the condition of your thinking, change the condition of your psychology. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing said, if people don't respect themselves, they won't protect themselves. She said she was united in her own independence. Why? Because she possibly cannot represent her. He said that's what Nina Fuller told her. She said that to me directly. Yes. So, in this being united, becoming one, becoming whole, is that a dream or is it a nightmare? If it is a nightmare, what outside influence that is preventing a people, a humanity, to become one and to become whole? You got to deal with the raising and the upbringing of the mentality of a people that prevents humanity to becoming whole, to becoming one, to coexist with one another, to become global citizens for the greater good and the best of humanity. What is being used to prevent that from happening? Bribery, bigotry, and toxins, militarism, government, politics, and religion. Preventing us from being a one humanity for the greater good of the best humanity to become global citizens for the best, offering the best of what humanity. So as we come together, we should come together, as Nina Fuller would say, to give each other constructive value. Come together for the sake of commerce. If anything, we can learn from other ethnic groups. Some ethnic groups knew the importance of having a commerce approach. So what we have to do is also realize, and people who call themselves so-called leaders, that when you're wrong, you're wrong. Admit that you're wrong. Dr. King says, I feel as though I'm integrating my people into a breakup. He was wrong. You know, there's a socialist approach to the problem, and then there's a commerce approach. We should have took the commerce approach. That we come together, we create a business for one another. We create a business opportunity for one another. When we create a business opportunity for one another, then therefore we place people in a better position that they can excel, and then we can hire one another. The same thing that the Jews do, Asians do. They hire their own people. On a larger scale, they created the best products, the best lawyers, the best of the best. And when I think about best, I think of God as best, the protector of women and children. Because they are protecting their future. You think on that. I'm disturbed this morning. I'm just tired of going through these rituals and these people who consider themselves to be in the position to mislead the people. What has the greatest influence over the people? Government, education, business, and culture. Brother Imam Wallace D. Muhammad made that clear. Government. Al-Manzur said you can teach people other languages, but you can't teach them how to govern. That they must learn for themselves. So we have become so dependent on someone else to govern our affairs. If that ain't a slave, I don't know what is. Because at the time that the slave could not articulate his experience, that the slave master had to do it. But how do you become a master? Yet you become proficient in what you're doing and what you're all about. You become proficient of it. You become a master of it. So we must allow the system to use our ignorance to manipulate our circumstances in our ignorance to make us to become enemies of ourselves. Enemies of the greater good of our humanity. So we are here to develop our intellect, to learn to coexist with one another in this learning environment. Education, that which bring out that is from within. A truly educated person has the responsibility to teach people to have affection for discipline. If anybody says that it's stiff-necked people, that is undisciplined, who is stubborn, abstinent, And what is business? Business is merely a perpetual motion. It's always movement. The first law we say that the sun rises. The sun does not rise. The sun doesn't move. Where you get this thinking from? Culture. Dr. Seymour made it clear. She says that culture is dynamic. And when that culture becomes destructive, you got to take a serious look at that culture. And when you and I have become destructive, we have to take a very look at ourselves. And when we don't take a very look at ourselves, we have inherited the same mentality, the same philosophy, and the same psychology, that we have become very hypocritical, that we won't take a look at ourselves and look in the mirror, because we have become very destructive. And we have to give consequences for our actions. So yes, may we come and create business opportunity as a commerce approach, as Brother Julian would say that the Jews did, a commerce. Employ and imply ourselves. That when we change this condition, because I say society is under social reconstruction, where our feelings are becoming desensitized, which means we're becoming very numb. We don't even feel for one another that is closest among us. But yet, when someone who has shared a tear for someone who doesn't even appreciate the value of your tears, and we don't even know them, but we live vicariously through them, but yet the person that is right there among you, you won't share any tear for them, but yet if you do share a tear for them, because they were an asset to you, and you wasn't an asset to them. That's why we got to stand on our own merit. Sharing tears for people who we don't even know. We never even met them personally. So in this desensitization, being desensitized, being numb, and don't think that what we do when it comes to toxins further numbs us. It makes us want to escape from this reality, which is not our own. It is a simulated reality that has been given to us by a conjecturer or a master magician, and a magician will never let you know his or her tricks because he's a master magician. We try to drown out the reality through music. We are running from ourselves. And being induced and further subjected to demeaning, degrading, divisive, information. So this social reconstruction leads to of the feelings. And I said that the thoughts now is becoming demoralized. That is moral and cultural decline. We're becoming very immoral. And so someone says about the Irishmen and what make them behave in a certain way. I mean, they realized they was being economically and socially, socially economically exploited. Yes. They're talking about the term morality. immoral. Make fair seeming seem good. And then you deal with the dehumanization process. Being dehumanized. That's the attitude. It says that the attitude was kicked out of the garden. It was the attitude. It's the attitude that we have about things. It's the attitude approach that we have about ourselves. It's the attitude. Then the language, it's communication, the manner and way in which we communicate with one another. That's the next that's the devitalization, being divided, which means what we're saying to one another, we really don't and not listening to one another. It is difficult to talk with a person who doesn't have the capacity to respect and understand other people's perspective. Come incapacitated. That is a disability. And I make my case that society is dealing with a social learning disability. Chika Diop made it clear that once you throw out the ecology of an environment, once intellectual aptitude for learning becomes difficult, there is no difference in the creation of all human beings. The only difference is the use of one's faculties. Our people laid it out for us. And then the activity of this social reconstruction becomes destabilized. And most young people, they may not listen, but they watch what you do. They imitate what you do. All they doing is responding to a spirit of apathy by their leaders. Because people are only responding and reacting to the extent of the damage or the injury that has been done to his or her humanity. So what is this social reconstruction? What is this change the condition? The condition is a restructuring of the organization of our humanity. How we organize our humanity when it comes to our reason for being. And when we reorganize or restructure and reorganize our humanity, the first thing we realize that we must first learn to cooperate with one another, because adequate cooperation leads to proper communication, and that's how you effectively coordinate your power. Yes. So I say, and I must say, in an uproar, that we are what we do, not what we say. And may we come to an awakening that to our true selves, based on ontological affirmation, our very being, our very makeup, living organism, is always evolving, always growing and developing. The best of intellect, the best of intelligence, that we use our mental faculties and our physical abilities to better humanity. And bring out the best in each other's humanity. Saving and salving the soul of humanity. For the future of humanity. Not by misrepresenting, misusing one another, degrading and demeaning each other. Some could be too far gone, not in range, can be reached with this understanding. So they are easily to be bribed. But yet, there are those who have the integrity and the dignity not to allow themselves to be bribed nor taken for granted. Until the next time, talk to you.